Star Oracles. Today talking about Rahu transiting Jupiter. And I am cold. So this is a good example of why I'm such a nosy person, because there's some transits, a lot actually, where in order to get a really good understanding of what they create internally, you really have to have some history with a person to see how they're changing and how that person is navigating whatever this transit is creating. And you don't always get people who are willing to get all into it. You kind of have to be a very hypervigilant and introspective person to even be mindful of the ways events in your life are changing you and how you're growing through it. And not everyone really likes to spend a lot of time in those deeply introspective spaces. So that's what I like to do for people and myself, is I like to see the way we are changing and growing internally, and so that's one thing you'll see with this transit. It's for me, it's a lot more internal versus external. Like, that's what I've come to understand about this transit. There are some external tangible things that you can see, but I'll focus on that more towards the end. And before I get into it, I also just want to say that I tend not to just take the principles or the theory of Jupiter and Rahu and then just kind of like throw them together and spit out an interpretation. The theory and the meaning of each specific thing we're talking about definitely helps. It definitely helps put me in the direction of what I want to be looking at, but it never feels fully safe for me to just come up with an interpretation based on the theory. I really have to see what's happening and know what's happening with people to feel confident in giving an interpretation. So that said, let's start with what Jupiter represents. So Jupiter is your wisdom. It's that area of life where you feel wise, and it's your capacity for joy and optimism, and it's your faith and beliefs. These are some of the things that Jupiter gives us, and that's why you won't often see people talking totally transparently about this transit, and you kind of have to be a bit nosy or really know a person's background, because this is when your faith and your the beliefs that you've held become tested and challenged, and that can make a person feel wrong about what they have felt or believed in previously, and nobody likes to be wrong. So anyway, yes, so during this transit, this is when your beliefs can go through a radical shift. So if we want to think about what function our beliefs have in our life, is we kind of use them to build up kind of like a tower around ourselves, almost just like a safe place to exist within our beliefs about how the world works. And we don't like to spend too much time with people who believe differently or might challenge our beliefs, we really don't like them to be challenged. They're the things that we think are true, and we feel safe with those things. So imagine what happens when Rahu comes with its with that energy that Rahu has, which is gives confusion or fated events, and it's that, you know, shadowy figure that you know, can cause a lot of doubts. So when that is transiting over your Jupiter, you can really see those walls of your that you've built with your beliefs being you know, destabilized, knocked down, just fall on the ground. And so it's such an interesting transit. One phrase that came to me really strongly intuitively was reality check, and I definitely can see this happening with these transits. Is a person can go through a huge reality check when they find the limitations of just how far faith, luck, optimism will get them in life. I, you know, have some Jupiter issues, so I like to really push my luck and just see how far, like, how far grace is gonna take me, basically. And so so when this transit happens, a person can be like faced with the limitations or the consequences of relying on Jupiter in ways that are not good. And speaking of good, that's another thing that Jupiter represents, goodness. And we all have a different way of defining good in our lives based on what we believe. So during this transit, you can see people having to take a real close look at the things that they consider to be good, and if it's actually being a good thing in their life. So, you know, an example could be a certain lifestyle. You think that this lifestyle you have is a good lifestyle. Maybe it's it could be unconventional. It could be a real traditional lifestyle where people play these roles, and this is what you've been taught, or, you know, you feel that this is the best, the good way to live life. And then this transit can really make you evaluate that. Like, actually, is this lifestyle being a good thing in my life, or is it causing more stress for these reasons? Would it actually be better if we didn't all stick to these roles and we explored something else? Would that add more goodness and value to our lives, or wouldn't it? It could be, you know, a marriage. You think this marriage is good, but is it really good for us anymore? It can be, you know, a job, or spending a certain amount of time with certain people and doing this thing. And it's all things that were supposed to be good, but this transit will test that, and it will kind of bring your awareness to things that you may have felt were good, but they are no longer being a good thing in your life. A person's sense of purpose can also become shooketh during this transit. They're something that had served as a sense of purpose for them can now suddenly change in some way, which is always a bit scary. They may have to redefine where they get their purpose from and how that's going to look in their life. Usually, the faith is being tested, but this can also be a time of a big expansion in faith, where a person is seeing just how far their faith can take them, or they're exploring new ideologies, philosophies. There's other transits that'll cause that as well. I mostly see, because of Rahu, because Rahu is a negative influence, I see it more as things being tested rather than some type of newfound faith shows up. But it can happen where a person revisits their faith, and then this is just like showing a lot of interest in those things, like renewed interest. Rahu will do that too, because you're just focused on what it's influencing heavily. So there's a new interest in those things. So the other thing is, it's always good to think about Jupiter, or remember the things that Jupiter is a karaka for, such as a husband, children, your teachers, mentor, guru. These themes around children definitely happen a lot. Your beliefs around children can change. You may have thought like, oh, having kids will be this way, but it's not. There can just be a lot of focus around kids, around your children, or you could be making some permanent decisions that involve children, potential children, such as I've seen like people getting tubes tied or vasectomies during this transit, which is interesting to me because Jupiter represents children. And you could be going through something significant or turbulent with a teacher. There's a potential for that, or something with the husband. Rahu transiting Jupiter can change the relationship with the husband or make his life a little more chaotic. But overall, this transit is going to challenge your ingrained thoughts and beliefs. It's going to make you reevaluate things that you may have believed are good, but those things are really just beliefs and may not be holding up to real life circumstances. You may have to make some adjustments there with the good things in your life. It can change where you get a sense of purpose. You may have to let go of it for a little while, or it just changes. This will definitely test your beliefs and your faith, and it can also really put your focus there. And it can be a period where you feel a big expanse in your optimism and how you're using your faith, and through that you're gonna find you're gonna learn about your relationship to those things, to your faith and beliefs. If I think of anything else, I will put it in an article. This went by fast, but it's definitely an interesting transit that is hard to get people to really realize that they're going through it, because it can be uncomfortable having things that you held to be true not working, and maybe having to admit that you were wrong about certain things. So thanks for watching.